Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Connor Coggins, and this is a anticipated show, fair to say.
I would think so.
Yes.
Today, since it's Wednesday, usually we do mission briefings. It's just kind of a first look at a ship. We've got a new ship that we want to look at.
Well, an old ship.
It's a new old ship. Yes, it's a new take on an old ship. You guys might know what we're talking about. You might have seen something about it.
And the summary is da 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 da.
That's right. And this is how the rebooted Enterprise from JJ's 2009 should have looked.
Yes.
But instead we got it in Discovery. So let's just talk about it briefly. I'm sure we'll be doing a more detailed analysis down the road. So stay tuned for that.
Believe us, we're working hard already in in-house team. But yes, so this was spoiled for me, unfortunately. The Enterprise would appear. But you did not know. And so what was your first reaction when this thing glided on screen? Probably the best VFX of the entire show so far.
Did I not know? Because I've been calling this for weeks. I've been saying this is what's going to happen. They're going to get a hail. It's the Enterprise, and then credits, and we're not going to see it until season 2. Fortunately, I was wrong.
Yes.
But yeah, when that music hit, and they zoomed out, and I saw the 2 red Bizarre collectors, they got goosebumps. You know, it kind of welled up a little bit, and then it rolled by the camera, and it was so impressive. I really like the redesign, but at the same time, it's basically established the fact that it's not in prime timeline because it is redesigned, which is fine. I mean, whatever. Just admit that it's a visual reboot and let's move on with our lives.
As in, like, I mean, they've said it non-directly, but just changed the tagline from Prime to Visual Reboot Star Trek. Just like officially, just rename it rather than call it. It's the same, but we're updating things as we have to. Well, it's not the same then, is it?
No, because every other iteration that they've gone to TOS, they've gone to great pains to make sure it's accurate to TOS. Deep Space Nine, Enterprise,
and
it's
And yes, that might be the 60s, but guess what? The 90s, the 80s, the 2000s all refer back to the 60s, and even Star Trek Online refers back to the 60s design as a canon. It's a period piece, as we always say. And Drexler always says, you know, that's period piece, you know. So my first reaction was, "Oh, that's beautiful." You know, it is. I think I said this in a review. It's about 75% the same. And at one point, we're gonna have to work out what the subtlest of changes. You know, without doing side by sides exactly. This is a first look. We'll do that, you know, a little bit later on. You know, I'm sure the angles are different. I'm sure the curves are different. I'm sure, you know, at the end of the day, this is gonna be referencing their own Defiant variant. Like, I'm pretty sure the neck's been brought down a whole heap. The nacelles are definitely longer. I mean, it's got a lot of the details of the Defiant. Which we worked out. You know, if you took out the silly things like the fins and the prong bits, actually can look quite nice. So it's like, you know, we said at that point as well, you know, this is the only version that should look like is the Connie from this time, and you know, one thing we said before the Discovery started is the best way to approach this would be a design that is recognized with the same thing from a distance, but as soon as you get close, you appreciate, oh, that's a new detailed version. So, you know, Communicator, if you saw it 10 feet away, it has the same outside, but as soon as you get closer, it's like, oh, it's new metallic details. Oh, the inside's got LEDs. Ooh, this, and this. You know, they had that for the Phase a little bit. They had that for the Communicator a little bit. You know, some things follow that. Most things don't. Most things are just different for the sake of different. This ship does look the same, bar a few differences. And it obviously is worth saying it's still pre-Kirk's Enterprise, although post-Cage's Enterprise. So
yes.
And it is the Enterprise. They can't even say this is an alternate Constitution class. This is the ship that we know what it looked like a year earlier. And 8 years later. And then 5 years later. And then 10 years later. And then 20 years later. And then, you know...
It's the most analyzed starship in sci-fi history, I would be safe to say.
Which the original is one of the most treasured pieces of the Air and Space Museum in Washington. You know, it's beloved. You know,
exactly.
But this one is also excellent.
Oh, absolutely! This is fantastic design. But I mean, you can tell right away it's more squat profile. They've shortened the neck and made other changes. Kind of like there's a lot of changes in here that actually kind of speak to the Phase 2 refit look.
Yeah.
Which, you know, work. I don't have a problem with that. They reshaped the secondary hull. And you know, we'll get into all the specifics of it, I'm sure, at some point. But really, I'm impressed with it. I really am.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not the Enterprise it should be, and that's sad.
Yeah,
I've heard rumors that the angled struts were even supposed to be straight, but the visual effects team actually changed those after the design was approved. So I don't know how much truth there is in that, but
well, yeah, it's like, why is there a hole in the struts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think just even straight struts would have been something that they needed.
Yeah, I think the struts work really well, honestly.
Well, they look amazing. They work really well.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just saying, to make it the Enterprise it's supposed to be, straight struts would have been just a simple thing that would have really helped.
Yeah, that's why I said never show the Enterprise, because you can't get her right. And they haven't got her right because she should look like the Enterprise. But they've got a rebooted version of her looking great. And as you said at the intro, if this was the JJ Enterprise, just, you know, in 8K texture details and stuff, it would have been like perfect. I mean, this could not be a better JJ Prize. It's the same ship, but sleeked out, but more glowies, but the same thing, and correct proportions. Even so much as they've changed proportions. You know, like I said with the Define episode, you know, they've stretched out secondary hull, stretched out themselves, but it kind of works. It does make it feel slightly faster. Like, it gives it a more of a profile.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, and as I've kind of seen comments here and there about, it looks more like it can handle itself in a fight. It's more like almost like more of a warship stance than the original Constitution was, and we know that was meant for exploration, obviously. But I mean, this one looks a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more like it can handle itself. You know what I mean?
What's amazing is that, you know, this last frame is it next to Discovery, and it shows up how much better this design is. It makes Discovery look flat and dull and badly proportioned and weird, and it just makes Enterprise look really great. You know, that's you know, a classic with a new lick of paint is still, you know, one of the best, you know, out there. But obviously it's still got some Discovery aspect, but they didn't fall into that trap of discoverifying it. This is very much a refit without the baggage of the Discovery verse, because it's got the red basards, and they have a spinning motif. It's got the dish with one prong as it should do. It's got the inner grills, but we know that was what it was intended, and it links into pre and post Trek, so that's totally justifiable. So self-illumination, post and pre-Trek both have that, so you can kind of retcon that back in. It's got the grills at the back of the engines, which is like the second pilot just lit. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's one of the things that really impressed me, the fact that they got the rear of the nacelles right. They're very much like the Cage or Where No Man Has Gone Before, where there's just the holes in them. And illuminated looks great. I mean, a lot of model builders have done that for the 1.5 versions, right? And I mean, eventually you can see that being refitted to like a ball at the end with like a ring around it. I mean, that would have been fine. So I'm really glad they kept that aspect of it and did kind of go with some of the Cage. Now, I didn't see any spikes on the nacelles, and but this is after the Cage, I guess. So
yeah, I mean, this could be the fresh. I mean, it's you know, next door to Earth. You know, it's just out of the solar system and taking a left. You know, a few seconds. So it could just have been refitted. Who knows? But obviously, it's an odd design that links to nothing. It doesn't. Whatever. It's a one of the big things though that we talk about is, you know, it starts out and it flies in and it's glorious, but they've got, you know, a glowing top piece, okay, bright blue, and what appears to be a bridge. And one of the things, a bridge window. One of the ways we can tell it's a bridge window is it's actually reflecting light, a lot of light back onto the saucer, which is more in keeping with a window, because you obviously have, you know, the entire bridge of light, and you can see very, very faint black on the blue or blue white. It's not a clear blue white, implying that they did some basic something inside the model just to give it some depth. Now, obviously, the weird thing about that is that yes, there was a window detail. I say window detail on the original Cage Enterprise, so it is either a reference to that, a reference to themselves because Discovery has one, a reference to the '09 JJ Prize, or just trying to be consistent with their own universe. But either way, there shouldn't be a window on the Enterprise. And my goodness, if they made a bridge with a window on the Enterprise, and it's like we've seen every iteration of the Enterprise bridge, except its launch version, and it's like, ooh, that. I mean, the way the bridge is built, there's not even very much space for a window. Like, it's meant to be a teeny little view screen that's neat and compact. If you even open up that space, when you have to either remove consoles to give it this nice big widescreen feel, and they're doubly ruining it, because then we know exactly how it looks. So,
yeah,
I mean,
and and Stephen goes to conversations about the cage window. It was actually a sensor strip, a sensor palette, but even if you match up the outside with the interior view screen, the interior view screen is much smaller, like 4:3 ratio. The one on the outside is more of a widescreen look, so it doesn't even match up if you say it's a window. So that argument really bothers me, and it's 2009 that brought the window into Star Trek, and it's been there ever since. It's something we've complained about often because it's not supposed to be there.
Because there's nothing wrong with windows, just
no a great visual.
Just no designs in Trek use them, so stay consistent with that.
Yeah, well, now every design in Trek uses them.
Well,
because of 2009.
Because you can imagine that, by this same retconning, the Enterprise D has the bridge dome is just open with a window. The Enterprise Z is just open with a window because that's tactically safe, and the Voyager is just open with a window. It's like, I don't want to see every ship retconned with a big window.
Yeah, no.
Because it detracts something, even though yes, it's visually cool, but it's just. It's one of the fun things is that you sort of knew scale, but it was still this smooth, clean identity of a ship. You didn't need, And yes, obviously the Enterprise D had a window up top. That was a skylight. It's they put that in. That's the canon. Whatever it. Just have things make sense inside the universe that they put them in. It's very easy. Because now we have to retcon that that the cage version obviously existed because we saw it in all of Trek, and then they decided to put a window, redesign the bridge for 1 year to put a window in, and then decided it was such a bad idea they redesigned a window out. It's like, why did they put a window back in if the NX-1 didn't have a window, but Discovery did, but Discovery's newer than the Enterprise, so it brings all these stupid questions where the designers don't think about that. They just want what they want without really appreciating the fan base, honestly.
And people will get complaining that we're nitpicky, but we're not. We're just trying to line up with the internal canon. I mean, it's got to make sense.
We're just doing what Doug Drexler, Michael Desicuda, Rick Sternberg, Andrew Probert, John Eves, all these people have done for 30, 50, 40 years, however many years they've worked on Trek. I mean, that's just what they've been doing. That's the whole point.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I think this Enterprise looks cool. The window looks cool on there. I'm sure it'll be a great looking ship. I would love to get a model of this. I mean, it looks like a
without
cool
the
Enterprise. Without the window.
That's the only thing I'd change for the most part.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, even too with the window, it looks cool enough to me. Like, I think it's cool. But yeah, it doesn't fit with what we have established 50 years of history.
And you can't change a Connie because we know exactly how it looked like.
Yeah.
Although, as I've said before, the easiest way to solve the whole window dilemma is just have a sheet of metal that then slides under it as battle armor, and so 90% of the time it's closed. Or in the important missions that we see, you just say, well, okay, all the times we saw it in these shows, it had its armor, and then every time we see it in Discovery, they choose to have it open. It's that easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really work because of the view screen there, so the view screen, I guess, would have to move and...
It's a transformer now.
Yes, the sound effects.
But no, let's step away from the window for a second because, it could break. And yeah, I'm glad they kept a lot of the original details, as you said. The deflector that sticks out, gold-plated or copper with the single prong, looks beautiful. And it does have kind of a lot of NX-01 qualities to it. The nacelles, I mean. The front of the nacelles and the grills, very much NX-01 tie-in, which is cool.
Although they theoretically shouldn't be at this point because the Connie's way later, and this isn't the in-between step, this is every other step. It shouldn't have basically any reference to the NX-1 at this point, design-wise. And yeah, it's amazing how, given all the things they've changed for the sake of change, it's kind of amazing that they kept the deflector like it looked in the 60s. It's like they want to change everything for the sake of it. Why are they leaving details that clearly, you know what I mean? it's if they're going to reboot things, you know, that's why I said don't show it, because you can only do it wrong, or at least it sounds like I'm complaining, but it's just odd that they thought that was updated enough to maintain the universe.
Yeah, I would have preferred a more inset deflector dish with a blue glow behind it, and then forsake the window and the bridge. You know what I mean? That I would have swapped out those two design elements easily, and it would have been fine.
Well, maybe maybe one of those rings activates at some point for some tertiary effect. You know, emergency power to the deflector. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, again, that's the problem. You either go full reboot, which they've done, or you go canon.
You never go full reboot. If you've watched Tropic Thunder, you know what I'm talking about.
And this is that weird amalgam of it. It's super continuity, and yet also everything's a bit different. And it is worth saying, you know, a lot of people were saying online, oh, they've stolen Gabe Kona's design. Oh, they've stolen Mako Fish. But,
or Bill Krause's hood design.
I mean, what would you say to the fans that say that? And a few podcasts have gone out and said, oh, no, this is stolen. And one even said, oh, this is a store-bought model. It's like, no.
What would I say? I would say that that's stupid. I mean, there's only so many ways you can modify a ship of this era to look different.
Obviously make it silver, because that's more in keeping. You add armor, you add more glowies. I mean, there's, you know, almost everything is a simple checkbox of, yep, let's just update that one step. And then the Bassards are closer to the refit, closer to the latest, okay, fine. And then and all these things are linking to the Defiant, as we saw previously. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's in keeping with their own art style. But, you know, look at Gabe Kerr's Enterprise, it's a lot different. This is way closer than that version. Which would also be a totally, I mean, that would be a sort of, not steampunky, but it'd be an alternate universe rather than reboot. You know, like where it's going on a completely different live technology, but looking similar. Whereas JJ was meant to be, you know, one thing changed, it should still look sort of consistent, just more advanced. Whereas, you know, that one had a very distinctly different feel. It shouldn't really connect to like NX, but so it's parallel more than just updated. Make a Fish was very much, well, very close to this, but again, there's not many things you can do to change it and keep it. That's why I'm so impressed it's consistent, at least for the most part. And obviously, you know, the fact that it's got a different secondary hull, different pylons, I mean, all these things can be changed, but why are they refitting it mid-life cycle, a few years after launch, and then refitting it out of that design? I guess you could say this is the tactical mission version, but then you're adding more and more retcons inside of a continuity which doesn't need them. But again, this is a visual reboot. We now know, confirmed, it's not going to link to Prime in the visual sense. And honestly, we can now ignore, because again, a visual reboot means we can ignore what they show. So Shinjo never existed in Prime in the continuity because it's a visual reboot show. So this is a separate pocket, and you know, but things like Memory Alpha, they're just going to report it as fact, but we can't take it as fact. If they're saying visual reboot, it's like the J.J. Abrams team. If you tell the guys that designed the Kelvin, don't make it look like TOS, then that's the wrong mindset to be able to slide it into canon. So that's its own thing. This is its own thing. We have our 50 years of Trek bubble. This is its own thing. Events might be the same, although they're a bit daft and Klingons are very bad. But, you know, this shouldn't... at this point, we should give up trying to link these things together. Not for lack of liking this, but Discovery did not exist in this way. End of story. And this Enterprise did never exist. But the stories can still exist, but nothing is going to be added to the tapestry of Star Trek visually, and we could ignore everything that happens in this show from a visual standpoint. The uniforms, the props, the everything. Just, it's totally separate.
Well, and that's what they want us to do. They want us to enjoy the storytelling for what it is, even though it doesn't even line up with Prime canon. And just enjoy the show for what it is, and a more modern take on Star Trek, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But what we do here is specifically try to link things into canon, and as we've stated, in Enterprise and Deep Space Nine, whenever they've revisited this era, they've made great pains to make sure it's accurate and correct. And they could have done that here. They could have had the exact same Enterprise, maybe update the color palette a little bit, self-illumination, that's about it. Change those kind of things, and we would have been more than happy with that. I do love this visual reboot. This Enterprise looks fantastic. Like I said, I can't wait to get a model of it, get my hands on it. But I just think they could have handled it a little bit better. And people are going to say, well, you know, I'm a Trekkie fanboy, whatever, TOS fanboy, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, as you said, Doug Drexler, Michael Kuda, they've all taken great pains over the years to make sure that TOS, when it's shown on screen, is represented as it should be, as a period piece. I don't know.
If we can just change anything, then why aren't we changing the X-Wings in, you know, Star Wars Episode 4 to have fully LED touchscreens in the cockpit? Everything's just glass. There's no joystick. It's just touchscreen. The helmet's all, you know, LED reflectors and super thin, and the X-Wing is actually just, you know, and then say, oh, that's what it always looked like. It's like, oh. Okay.
That's a great analogy. I love that, actually.
And Star Wars fans, obviously, they hate, you know, a lot of, well, half. That's the consensus. You know, 50% of 50% hated Last Jedi, because it changed, updated, you know, whatevered. You know, Star Wars fans finally got to see stuff of them being bad to the fan base. You know, in terms of, you know, the classics not respecting certainly the characters, and obviously the Enterprise is a character. And I think this is quite a respectful version. Now we know it's in their own pocket universe, which is tremendous. But it's like Rogue One going back and updating everything, because obviously it's not. I know obviously it had more budget as a movie, but Star Wars sort of got it, and you know, the Solo film, they're not changing all the designs, because
they changed the Falcon design, and that annoyed a lot of people.
Yes, because it's an earlier Falcon. I mean, it's in the story. I'm not remotely worried about that. That's silly. But the things that we know don't change, Stormtroopers, Death Star Destroyers, all that stuff, like, it's going to look all completely consistent, because guess what? They understand that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And people buy that, you know, and it's sad that the wrong people were in charge of Trek. Not necessarily, well, I mean, the story's been weakish and the designs have been okay-ish, but as I said in our review, thank goodness we got something this good, because, you know, their backlog has not been great, and we know a lot of the stuff's been done by committee. You know, no, make this change, no, make this change, no, and it's like, oh,
and change for the sake of change's sake.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and it's sad that we have to seem negative, but obviously this isn't the Enterprise as it should look, and so those people that obviously say we're being too lovey-dovey at the start, we then have to address them, saying, oh no, we're not, because it's not the Enterprise. But we also have to appreciate for what it is, because we're in a tenuous position here. We've got to appease both camps, those who love the show, those who don't love the show, those who want the canon, those who don't want the canon. You know, we are here to say our own opinions, which is we both love design, but at the same time we now have to separate completely this universe into its own separate thing, and that's fine. I hope they do a press release for season 2 saying, you know, 2018 Trek is 2018 Trek, what 2019 Trek is this Trek, and, you know, you'll get what you get and enjoy.
They've kind of already done that, saying if we see the interior, I can't remember the exact quote. You had mentioned it earlier today. Something about they'll keep it visually similar, but they can't keep it the same based on...
silly, yeah.
Yeah, the new...
And we'll talk about that at a separate time, because, you know, like I said, I really wish in Memory Alpha and stuff, they would just, you know, make it an official third thing, I guess fourth thing, if you can't mirror universe. Just no, this is not. Yeah. Star Trek Modern. That's fine, because it's a great design, and I mean, you can see what it can do, can't do. You know, it's got ball turrets. It looks like, and it's got a dish, and it's got those 3 great knock windows at the front, and it's got, you know, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this ship? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it should have been the original Enterprise? Let us know in the comments, as always. And if you want to help us make future content, you can absolutely do that, because we love doing this. Whether people hate us or love us, I really don't care. We tell it like it is, and no matter what we say, people are going to disagree with us. So, but if you want to help us to how people disagree with us, you can do that by heading over to Patreon, click the link in the description below, and help us out on a monthly basis, or head on over to Trekyards.com and click the donate button, and that all goes towards the show and helping keep it going and bringing all this great Trek content to you guys, the fans.
Or just share the show and everything. Fans enjoy it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just post, because we love to talk about ships, design, discovery, and more. Because we do love talking about discovery and more. It's really interesting. And we love interesting things, honestly. And so if you want to support as Stuart said, do that, or just share, and just tune in for next week's episode, next day's episode, all the episodes we do, and I'll follow up on this ship, as we are going to do one, and we have some plans. So wait, enjoy, tune in, and we'll see you then. So until next time, guys, I'm Commander Cockens.
And I'm Captain Foley.
I'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.